Fox News is giving Justice Democrats some free advertising. So I have a couple clips here to show you. These were shared by Waleed Shahid, who is the communications director for Justice Democrats. And they're actually, I mean, at least one of these clips are sort of informative. And it's more coverage than I've seen CNN or MSNBC give to Justice Democrats. So let's watch the first clip.
Our progressive wing of the Democratic Party is now warning of a civil war within the party. Our correspondent Trace Gallagher is on the case of the so-called Justice Democrats, how they helped take down one of the most powerful Democrats in Congress, and who they're after next. Trace?
Good evening, Ed. The big theme here is the far-left Justice Democrats are in the process of remodeling the Democratic Party. Justice Democrats are made up mostly of young people who just a few years ago didn't have any interest in politics until they became galvanized by the message of Bernie Sanders. The fact that Sanders lost didn't stop the momentum. In fact, many argue it simply shifted it toward new blood, including helping freshman Congressmember Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez get elected. And with Ocasio-Cortez representing the future, Justice Democrats are making it clear that centrist Democrats are holding the party hostage and becoming obstacles in the fight for things like free college and Medicare for all. So the goal is to counterpunch with willing liberals like New York Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Quite sick of Democrats who are afraid to be Democrats, who are afraid to be bold and progressive.
Step one on the bold and progressive agenda is to gather support for the upcoming Ocasio-Cortez Green New Deal resolution that her office calls a, quote, national, social, industrial, and economic mobilization at a scale not seen since World War II. That might include things like universal health care and net zero greenhouse gas emissions. But even though the Green New Deal lacks clarity, it is reportedly picking up support and could be introduced within days. But Justice Democrats might be surprised to learn the future is running smack dab into the past.
All right. So I couldn't find the rest of the clip there, but it looks like at the end they may have a bit of a critique saying that, oh, Justice Democrats have to watch out for people like Joe Biden, who still has popularity with some people. Look, I don't want to get too sidetracked here, but if Joe Biden runs, his support is going to fall off immediately. He will get destroyed. He's one of these people that I think voters have a more positive view of him in their mind. But then when he actually starts getting out there and talking and giving speeches, it's not going to go very well. But back to Justice Democrats. This was actually a fairly good breakdown of the group. So, I mean, the one thing I can maybe take issue with is that they call them far left, which when you look at polling on the actual policies that the Justice Democrats support, Medicare for all, the vast majority of Americans support it, including most Republicans. Higher taxes on the wealthy and multinational corporations. Again, most Americans support that. Getting big money out of politics, most Americans support that. So Justice Democrats, by and large, are incredibly moderate because the majority of the country supports the policies that they support. But in the eyes of, you know, Fox News viewers or Fox News executives, that's far left. But let's go to the next clip here, where this clip is maybe a little more interesting.
Nobody in the leadership is embracing anything that Justice Democrats are pushing. Nobody in the leadership of the Democratic Party is pushing the Green New Deal. So I think we should just kind of cool it a little bit on the extent to which the Democrats are getting pulled. I mean, you know, is Biden... Sure. You look at former Mayor Bloomberg, other very moderate people are going to be very serious contenders.
There are moderate people, but Morgan, it seems like the energy of the Democratic Party is on the left. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, everything he just said is factually true, but and that's what I would hope also if I were a Democrat. But it's just, as you said, it's just not where the energy of the party is. I sort of see what's happening with the Justice Democrats and with the younger people in the party. It's sort of like a boiling pot. And Nancy Pelosi has the lid on the pot, and she's trying really hard to keep this in check. But eventually, the pot is going to boil over. And so I think what you're seeing when we look at, yes, this happened in 18, but when we look at the 2020 candidates, no one's running on a moderate agenda that has announced yet. In fact, the people who are considering running, who are moderates, haven't gotten in yet or waiting to see what happens. We just saw what happened last week with Howard Schultz, a CEO who wants to run as a moderate, not as a Democrat, of course, but as a former Democrat, because he's saying this party is going too liberal into the next election. So while Biden could likely do very well, according to polling, against the president, I find a hard time seeing these people who are coming out, who are running the nomination and supporting such a extreme agenda actually winning the nomination. I don't see a moderate winning the nomination.
So, Sagar, to continue the pot boiling in the lid, which I think is an interesting analogy. I'm not making fun of it, because there are some Republicans who thought that Nancy Pelosi wouldn't even be in control of that pot and that she wasn't going to become speaker, and she defied the odds there. And then in round one with President Trump, in terms of the government shutdown, you can argue all day where we're headed after this State of the Union, but it appeared that she did pretty darn well in round one.
You're exactly right, Ed. What you see is the party establishment absorbing some of these forces. They're putting them into play, giving them some resources and allowing them to have their say on particular committees. But at the end of the day, they coalesce.
So have you noticed how the conversation has changed? Nancy Pelosi used to be the far lefty. She was the one that was getting all the attacks from all the conservatives saying, oh, she's a San Francisco liberal. She's so far left. But now they are recognizing that Nancy Pelosi is the one that's keeping the lid on the boiling pot, which I actually do think is a good analogy. This pot that will eventually boil over and the progressives will take over. So it is, I mean, this is a better breakdown of what is happening in the Democratic Party than I've seen at all on MSNBC. So maybe it's because Fox News is actually willing to critique the Democratic Party, actually willing to break down the internal struggles there, as opposed to MSNBC, which really is just a cheerleader for the Democratic Party establishment. That Fox News, it frees Fox News up to be able to give these give you the actual full picture of what is going on here and show you that, yeah, AOC is really just the beginning. And Nancy Pelosi is holding back these progressives as much as she can, but at some point it's going to boil over. So, excuse me. One more thing I want to mention here, because they brought it up, is Howard Schultz. So, anytime I have an opportunity to shit on Howard Schultz, I will shit on Howard Schultz. Howard Schultz, this billionaire, Starbucks billionaire, who, look, if he wanted to run in the Democratic Party, I don't think he would get this criticism that he's getting. But it's because he wants to run as an independent. And people realize that he has the potential to maybe split the vote in some way. Now, I really don't know who Howard Schultz's constituency is. I don't think there are enough billionaires in the country that he can win an election. But if he can trick enough people into voting for him, then it's possible. So Howard Schultz, the way he views politics right now in America is he sees the Democratic Party being so far to the left. He sees the Republicans being so far to the right, and then he sees all this space in the middle where there are all these self-identified independents that will vote for him. Now, he is correct to point out that there are more self-identified independents than there are Democrats or Republicans, but he is wrong to think that all these independents have the exact same policy ideas or support the same policies, and that in addition to that, in addition to all these independents supporting the same policies, they also all happen to be his policies. They also all happen to think that, yeah, billionaires should not pay more in taxes. Yeah, Medicare for all is crazy, which is nuts. A lot of these independents are independent because they didn't find a home in the Democratic Party, which has ignored them. The Democratic Party, which, much like the Republicans, has answered to their donors. So many people that self-identify as independents are a lot more progressive than the Democratic Party is. And maybe only now are coming back into the party with people like AOC, Rashida Tlaib, and Bernie Sanders. So this is, I mean, I guess overall, I want to see more of this. So if Fox News can keep spreading the message about Justice Democrats and what policies they are introducing and how popular those policies are, and their potential to take over the Democratic Party, I think it will only help the Justice Democrats.